What's going on, everyone? So the Los Angeles Lakers have zero excuse now as to getting a center. They no longer even have to go trade for a center, right? Now you have Day'Ron Sharpe. I mean, even Mo Wagner if you needed to, but it kind of be towards the bottom of my list. But you have Day'Ron Sharpe as well as DeAndre Ayton, two guys that, I mean, they could sign both right out the gate. Get Ayton as your starter and then, get a Day'Ron Sharpe as your backup. Boom, now you have your center position locked up for the foreseeable future. Both guys are very young, right? You got Day'Ron, who's 23, Ayton, who's 26, he'll be soon 27. Right? You're in great shape. You got guys like Luke Kornet. Still do a Clint Capella. Like, can you get an Ayton and then a Clint Capella? Right? Like, regardless, the Los Angeles Lakers have zero excuse. But this is something that I was talking about, like, with the center position. Right? We got to be patient. Why haven't we traded for a center yet? Why don't we draft a center? Why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? Like, again, I understand it's frustrating. I understand it's hard at times, right? We're not the most patient fan base. We want things kind of done and out of the way. But, we need to keep in mind, like, let things develop, right? If the Lakers would have done what 90% of the fan base would have wanted them to do and just go get a center just to say they got a center, then they would have ponied up and done all this stuff to maybe go trade for an Ayton, right? Because there's a lot of Laker fans that really wanted Ayton, right? Imagine if the Lakers traded Connect in a first to go get Ayton because, all these teams are trying to fleece the Lakers but was so desperate for a center that they have to overpay for a center, and we could have gotten him for free now. Right? Or you go and you trade for a Nick Claxton and you sell the farm to go get Nick Claxton, and that's basically the only move you can make because now you've sold all your assets, and then Ayton and Day'Ron and all these guys start becoming available, and we're like, then what is everyone going to say? Oh, why did the Lakers go? Like, again, we got to let things develop. But Rob's still got to do his job, right? He's still got to get these guys and convince these guys to stay. I think Ayton's going to the Lakers, personally. That's just me. I mean, they share the same agent, him and Luka, right? He wants to go to a winning situation. He would be the immediate starter. He really needs to go to a place more than anything to kind of revamp his career, kind of change his image. He's one of those guys that, has all the potential in the world. I mean, the guy could easily be a 20-10 center. I mean, he was an 18-10 center without a guy like Luka and LeBron next to him. Imagine what he could be with Luka and LeBron next to him. High flyer, he could be that lob threat, but he can also score on his own. He doesn't need plays ran for him. He can work it out. Like, he is, in many ways, the best center option that the Lakers could potentially get. I didn't want the Lakers to necessarily trade for Ayton because it's $35 million in salary that they would have had to trade for. And then top of that, he could just leave you. But two, it's like, what are the assets you would have had to give up in return? And what if it doesn't work, right? Because Ayton's big issue is, again, he can't get out of his own way. And his motor, right? His effort at times is just awful. And it's just like, okay, if you go and you sell the farm to go get Ayton and then, it doesn't work out, now what do you do? Where now it's such a low risk, high reward type move. So I'm glad that the Lakers didn't go and trade for Ayton, and so when I was talking to it, it broke down because I made videos about DeAndre Ayton before, and that was my big thing was like, hey, I don't know how I feel about trading for him. Like, if the Lakers did it, I wouldn't be upset with him. He's probably the best center that the Lakers could potentially get. You're talking about a legit, 18-10 guy. The defensive side of things, again, is a lot of it is just lack of effort. Right? Him just not being committed on the basketball court, the rebounds, the hustles, the dirty work, all of that stuff. He has to be committed, right? But also you got to keep in mind too, you're not looking for him to be, your second, third guy. You're looking for him to be your fourth guy because you still have LeBron. I mean, we'll see what happens with LeBron. A lot of talk about him potentially getting traded, but regardless, you still have LeBron, right? You still have Luka. You still have Austin Reeves. So Ayton at best is going to be your fourth option, right? And he's a guy that can do so many things. But even remove Ayton, right? Because I don't want to get too much in Ayton just because, again, this is more generalized about the center position. Even like a Day'Ron Sharpe and a Clint Capella, right? Day'Ron Sharpe has all the tools. I mean, the guy is an absolute wrecking ball on the inside, solid defender, good size, good strength. Not a true 7-footer, but he makes up with it with his motor, effort, and energy. right? Excellent rebounder. He's got a good nose for the ball and a good feel for the ball. I mean, even if you were to get somebody like him and like a Luke Cornett, right? And, again, Clint Capella and a Day'Ron Sharpe works, right? Even if the Ayton thing falls through, which, again, I think he is going to end up being, I just think it makes too much sense for all parties involved, right? But even if that falls through and he goes elsewhere, right, there are still several, and there could be more, who knows, right? Several options for the Lakers at the center position. Several options that the Lakers could look to acquire at the center position, right? So he needs to make sure that he's doing his due diligence, right? Flush it out, work it out. And this is great too, because then now you don't have to use all your assets to go and get a center. Right? Now you don't have to use all your picks and everything to go get a Nick Claxton or a Daniel Gafford or something like that. Now you can bring in an Ayton and a Day'Ron and have all your assets still and go and find that wing depth trade. Right? Maybe you're making multiple wing depth trades, right? Especially if you end up losing a guy like a Dorian Finney-Smith. It would be kind of nice to go get a guy like that. So to me, I think the Lakers are again in excellent shape. I think the Lakers, today went about as good as it could go for the Lakers without them actually signing or trading for somebody, because they got multiple options that just became available that make all the sense in the world for the Lakers and put them back into the driver's seat a little bit, right? Like they haven't started the car yet and they're not really there yet, but they're getting in, getting comfortable, running the hands along the wheel, getting ready to go, right? Because all the reports were, hey, teams are trying to fleece the Lakers because they know the Lakers are desperate. They know the Lakers are a team that, and I made a video about it and I talked about it, like going and getting use Clint Capella as the example, because at the time we didn't have Ayton and all these other guys, right? But I was like, Clint Capella, you go get a Clint Capella. Well, now you're not desperate. Now you're not in a desperate state. Now these teams can't approach you and go, oh, we want to fleece you because you have no choice. You need to get a center. Now it's like, hey, worst case scenario, we have, we have a Clint Capella. Right? You want to fleece us? Well, we got a Clint Capella. Guess what the Lakers now can have, potentially? An Ayton and a Day'Ron Sharpe. You should have taken the deal that we wanted to give you when you had the chance. Now, good luck to you. Now you have to find a way to move those guys, or you're waiving them, or you're cutting them, or doing whatever. Or you're giving up assets to get off of them if you really want to get off of them, because you thought, oh, Lakers are never going to find a way. Right? And I know people are going to look at it as like, oh, Lakers lucked into it. I mean, I already see all Lakers lucked into another one. It's like, first off, one, he hasn't signed yet, but two, it's not luck, it's patience, right? Rob Pelinka, to his credit, has been excellent in the patience department, right? The last few years. He wasn't really super patient early on, right? He was a guy that overpaid and kind of would just it almost felt like he was making moves at times just to make moves. Done a much better job over the last few years, and it's paying off. There's always going to be that guy that becomes available. Always. Talk about it all the time. There's always going to be that next guy, the next star, the next role guy, the next all-star, whatever. There's always somebody somewhere that is unhappy because you have, 400 players in the NBA and you have teams that are in situations and, there's so many variables that go into it. That center option was going to be available one way or another. That's why I kept saying, let's be patient and let things unfold. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.